The movie opens with Daniel and Robin, a young couple becoming foster parents to an 8-year-old girl named Kathelia. At the Children and Family Services office, the social worker briefs them on the girl's background and unusual behavior. Kathelia doesn't speak, but she understands everything that's said to her. She's clever and finds her own ways to communicate. No one's certain whether her silence comes from a birth defect, trauma, or simple refusal to talk. Curious, Daniel asks why Kathelia was returned from her previous foster home. The worker explains that the elderly couple who took her in had bitten off more than they could chew, and on top of that, there were health issues in the household. Regardless, Daniel and Robin decide to welcome the girl with open arms. Daniel, a teacher on summer break, and Robin, a custom home builder who mostly works from home, are ready to pour all their love into this child after suffering multiple miscarriages. They want to give Kathelia the stability and affection she's never known. They show her to her new room, filled with dolls, toys, and everything a little girl could want. Then head downstairs to make lunch. The phone rings. It's Robin's mother, curious about the new addition to the family. Robin reassures her everything's fine, but her mother can't resist sharing what she found online. Kathelia's biological mother allegedly murdered her entire family, her husband and her 2 other children. Robin keeps her composure and replies that she already knows. Kathelia is just a little girl who's been through unimaginable trauma. Suddenly, the fruit they're eating begins to rot before their eyes, turning black and moldy. Moments later, the sandwiches Robin made are covered in the same decay, flies swarming over them. When they check the fridge, all the food is spoiled. Daniel figures the refrigerator must be broken and insists he can fix it. Upstairs, Robin runs a bath for Kathelia. As the water fills the tub, the girl suddenly appears behind her, silent, wearing a pink swimsuit, making Robin jump in surprise. Robin tells Kathelia that there's no need to keep secrets, and she doesn't have to wear a swimsuit, but the girl keeps it on anyway. Robin then shares that she's had 4 little girls before her, but never got to meet them. Now, she has Kathelia instead. That night, Daniel and Robin fall asleep while Kathelia sneaks downstairs and takes 2 large knives from a kitchen holder. She stands in the hallway, silently watching them sleep as flies buzz in the air. Outside, the water in the pool starts to bubble. The next morning, Daniel notices that the pool is covered with strange pink, jelly-like clumps floating on the surface. He collects one in a cup and brings it inside to show Robin. She asks him about her knives, but he doesn't know where they are. When Robin leaves to work at one of her model homes, Daniel goes into his man cave to examine the pink substance under his microscope. Kathelia appears behind him, and while he talks to her, she grabs a drill from the desk and turns it on. Daniel takes it away and realizes she might be trouble. He then shows her the jar with the jelly-like substance and mentions that it seems to be moving. Kathelia looks disturbed and leaves. Later, Kathelia carries all her dolls outside to a nearby creek and throws them one by one into the water. A blonde girl named Fiona appears behind her and says that the dolls don't go away forever, but float farther down the creek. Kathelia continues throwing the dolls while Fiona sits beside her, dismembering one of them and handing it to Kathelia to tie its hands. Fiona cuts out the doll's eyes and removes the pink stuffing, saying that the insides are the best part because that's where all of the colors are. Back at the house, Daniel tidies up Kathelia's room. When he lifts the blanket off her bed, 2 large knives suddenly drop out, clattering to the floor. Alarmed, he runs outside and finds Kathelia playing with Fiona by the creek. Moments later, Fiona's mother, Lizzie, arrives to collect her and introduces herself to Daniel and Robin. As the adults chat, Fiona stares blankly at Robin, calling her a door. Lizzie laughs it off, saying kids say strange things, but the moment leaves Robin uneasy. Daniel tries to brush it off, saying Kathelia and Fiona seem like 2 peas in a pod. Lizzie and Fiona then head home. Later that evening, Robin tells Daniel that she finds the neighbors unsettling. The way the girls played with the dolls reminded her of something out of a serial killer's profile. Daniel disagrees, thinking Lizzie seemed perfectly normal, just a single mom doing her best with a special needs child. Robin isn't convinced and says that she feels like Lizzie has some dark secrets. She suggests inviting their friends and their kids over for a cookout, hoping Kathelia will meet other children. When Robin later notices her knives are back in the kitchen, Daniel admits he found them hidden in Kathelia's room. That night, Kathelia sneaks out again and slips into Daniel's man cave. She quietly grabs a drill and a saw, but it seems she isn't planning to hurt anyone. She looks just as scared as they feel, like she's bracing for something only she can see coming. The next day, Robin scrubs at the bathtub, horrified to find black mold spreading across it. Wherever Kathelia spends time, the mold seems to follow. She starts freaking out, feeling strange things whenever she's home alone. Robin then tells Daniel she feels like there is something else in there with her, and it's happening since they got Kathelia. During the cookout, friends and their children gather outside. Kathelia comes out, but she seems overwhelmed and doesn't want to meet anybody. As the guests talk, the food suddenly begins to rot, mold spreading and flies buzzing. Then one of the little girls asks Kathelia about her mother killing her father and if she remembers it. Kathelia snaps, lunging at her in a violent outburst. The party ends in chaos. At nighttime, after the failed party, something influences Robin to jump in the pool full of the pink clumps and seduce her husband. They engage in some steamy action in the pool, while Kathelia packs her little bag and tries to run away. But as she runs, blood begins to pour from her nose and she collapses by the creek. The couple soon finds out that Kathelia is not in her room and they panic. When Daniel finds her by the creek, she's unconscious. Early the next morning, Fiona and her mother show up at the door. Fiona insists on seeing Kathelia. Daniel and Robin say it's not a good time, but there's nothing they can do. Fiona goes straight into Kathelia's room with a box with dolls. She tells Kathelia she knows she tried to run, but it's pointless. She's trapped here now. Fiona says she talks to many people with pretty colors, but Kathelia's colors are funny. When Daniel enters to check on them, Fiona tells him that monsters are coming and even mocks him for not taking her seriously. Fiona continues, telling Kathelia that she knows she's met a real monster before, one that follows her everywhere, one that hurts people. She says it's already here and vomits on the carpet before saying she wants to go home. While Daniel and Robin clean up, they find the drill and saw hidden under Kathelia's bed. The unease between them grows. They take Kathelia to a child therapist. During the session, she paints a picture of Robin, but then violently tears into it, stabbing the page and splattering red paint across the paper. Afterwards, Robin starts vomiting and realizes she's pregnant. Her demeanor changes entirely. She tells Daniel they made a terrible mistake taking Kathelia in, and she begs Daniel to send the girl away. But Daniel says they just need to give her some time. Robin tells him they don't have time, and Kathelia is dangerous. That's when he realizes she's pregnant. The next day, Daniel leaves the house. Kathelia quietly enters the bedroom, where Robin is still asleep. She can hear the rapid heartbeat coming from Robin's stomach. By the time Daniel returns, he hears his wife crying upstairs. He rushes to the bedroom and finds Robin tied up, gagged with a towel, and Kathelia violently punching her in the stomach. Robin begs Daniel to get rid of Kathelia, but he still refuses to give up hope. When he finally confronts the girl, Kathelia begins packing her small backpack, ready to leave. Daniel calms her down, telling her they're not the enemy. He just needs to protect his wife. Kathelia hands him a small slip of paper with an address on it. Daniel doesn't believe it will help, but curiosity and unease push him to check it out. He and Kathelia drive to the address. Meanwhile, Robin finds blood between her legs and fears it's another miscarriage. A lump of flesh slips out of her, and she collects it in a jar, dreading the worst. But then she realizes that it isn't her dead fetus. She can still hear her baby's heartbeat, steady and alive inside her. When Daniel and Kathelia arrive at the address, Daniel goes inside the house. A woman named Evelyn invites him in after he explains he is Kathelia's new foster parent. Inside, he finds the same black mold, rotten food, and flies. He quickly finds out that this is the home of the elderly couple who fostered Kathelia before them. But what's weird is Evelyn has an injury on her leg, and he sees maggots crawling out of it and all around her chair. Evelyn asks if Daniel brought Kathelia with him, but feeling unsettled, he lies and tells her she's at home with Robin. But then Kathelia enters the house, holding a tire iron, and Evelyn immediately snaps and tries to attack her like a wild animal, only for her husband to show up and stop her. Thankfully, she's also chained to the ground, and Daniel takes his daughter and leaves. Before they can get in the car, the husband steps outside and warns Daniel to let Kathelia go. He tells him he doesn't know what she really is, but he will find out soon enough if he doesn't get rid of her. Then he asks the question Daniel wasn't expecting, if his wife is already pregnant. He explains that Evelyn could never have children. Cancer had taken that from her. But after Kathelia came into their lives, something else took root inside her womb. And that was what destroyed her. Back in the car, Daniel refuses to believe any of it. Still clinging to reason, he blames the old couple for what happened, insisting Kathelia should have never been placed with people like them. He doesn't believe in demons or curses or whatever they think the girl is. But before he can even finish the thought, Evelyn suddenly appears in front of the car. She yanks open the door, clawing toward Kathelia. Daniel slams the car in reverse, speeding backward with Evelyn still hanging on the back. He brakes hard and she's thrown off, hitting the ground. They drive off as Evelyn rises in the rearview mirror, staggering after them, still chasing into the distance. As they drive back, Daniel stops at one of Robin's model homes. He tells Kathelia to wait in the car and goes inside, where he finds Robin standing by the window, staring into the garden. When she turns around, she's visibly pregnant. She tells him things will be different this time. They hug, and she says this baby will be good for them. The next day, Robin visits her doctor. The doctor greets her warmly, asks how she and Daniel have been, and reassures her that she'll be by her side every step of the way. Robin admits she was worried she'd lost the baby. There was blood on the sheets, and she found something in it. She pulls out a small container holding a strange lump. The doctor's concern deepens, but Robin insists everything is fine, saying she felt the baby move again. And she adds that this morning she found this, opening a Tupperware box to reveal a lifeless fetus with tiny limbs. The doctor urges her to go to the hospital immediately, but Robin declines, insisting she and her baby are fine and bolts from the office. Later, Robin comes home. Kathelia is inside, watching Daniel clean the pool. When Robin appears, Kathelia panics and tries to barricade her door, but Robin breaks it down, shouting her name. She's completely unhinged, saying all she ever wanted was to bond with Kathelia and have a family, but now she has her baby. Then she tells Kathelia to scream for help, knowing she can't. Kathelia tries to run. Robin grabs her, but she breaks free. Robin tells her to run. Kathelia flees to Fiona's house. Inside, Fiona tells her she doesn't know how to help her yet, but is still trying. She's in the attic and calls Kathelia upstairs, saying she's with her friends. She shows her pictures of people, claiming they all live there, then lifts a wooden plank covered in insects. While Kathelia stares, Fiona hits her over the head with a hammer. Daniel rushes Kathelia to the hospital. She's alive, but the doctor notices something unusual on her brain scan, maybe a scar. He says he'll examine it more closely. That night, Daniel tucks Kathelia into bed and goes to check on Robin. He tells her Kathelia had a rough day, but Robin coldly replies that she doesn't care. She doesn't love Kathelia, and she isn't theirs. She stands, heavily pregnant now, saying Kathelia is a parasite and needs to go. Daniel can't believe what he's hearing. He spends the night in Kathelia's room. The next morning, the pool is covered in thick pink residue. Daniel stares at it and spots Fiona in the distance. She's left something on the porch, a doll with two heads, one normal and one grotesque. Just then, Kathelia's doctor calls. At the hospital, the doctor explains the brain scans. What looked like a scar isn't one, it's a fetus. Kathelia had vanishing twin syndrome, absorbing her twin in the womb. But the twin never disappeared. It remained inside her frontal lobe, blocking her ability to speak. Daniel drives Kathelia home, but they send the car outside. He tells her to stay there while he goes inside to talk to Robin. Then he finds Robin in the bathtub, about to give birth, barely a week after announcing the pregnancy. The water turns red as she delivers not a child, but a shapeless mass of flesh and blood. Still, she cradles it tenderly. Terrified, Daniel runs back to the car. Kathelia tries to tell him something, holding the two-headed doll. When he realizes she's saying she's the doll, he understands Fiona knows more than they do. So they go to Fiona's house. Daniel begs Lizzie to let them speak to Fiona, saying something terrible is happening to his family, and she might be the only one that can help them. Lizzie lets them in and sends Kathelia to fetch Fiona. She tells Daniel that when she was pregnant with Fiona, she was a complete mess, and she tried to end her life after learning her baby would have special needs, but both survived. Fiona grew up special, able to speak with the dead. For her, life and death are the same, and she lives in both worlds. When Fiona appears, she tells Daniel he saw the monster, but not the real one, which is inside Kathelia. Daniel shows her the doll and asks who the other head represents. Fiona says the other one never spoke her name, only said ugly things. She explains she hurt Kathelia so they could find her. Fiona confirms that this entity is what's tormenting his wife. When Daniel asks what to do, Lizzie and Fiona share a look. Lizzie says they'll need one more drink before they go upstairs to talk to the monster. Before they begin, Lizzie helps Fiona into a raincoat that covers her almost entirely. Fiona makes contact with the entity through her abilities. She explains that the fetus in Kathelia's brain holds a deep grudge. It uses those closest to her as doors to enter the world. First her mother, then her foster mother Evelyn, and now Robin. Each time her dead twin tries to emerge, she grows stronger. The twin has haunted Kathelia her whole life, and now she's furious. The only way to stop her is to remove the fetus. Fiona warns them to hurry and that she's at the door. Cut to Robin's house. The doctor stops by to check on her, but feels uneasy and decides to leave. Then Daniel and Kathelia come inside. Daniel tells her to get out immediately, but Robin appears with scissors and stabs him. Kathelia runs upstairs as Robin turns on the doctor, stabbing her repeatedly. Kathelia hides in the bathroom and finds jars filled with fetuses, each labeled Jessica. Robin calls her a murderer as she approaches. She drags Kathelia outside to the pool, which now looks like the inside of a womb, and tries to drown her. Lizzie bursts in just in time, dragging both Robin and Kathelia to safety. Kathelia tries to strike Robin's stomach, but Fiona stops her, reminding her that Robin is just a door. The monster is inside her head. They find Daniel still alive. Lizzie tries to help him, but Robin isn't done. Lizzie goes for the phone, but Robin returns and slits her throat. Fiona looks at her knowingly as she dies. Robin grabs a hammer and charges. Fiona and Kathelia drag Daniel into his man cave. Fiona tells Daniel the only way to end it is to destroy what's inside Kathelia's skull. Daniel hesitates, but Kathelia nods, knowing it's the only way. As Robin pounds on the door, he begins to drill into Kathelia's head. When Fiona asks him to stop, it seems like Kathelia's dead. Then, the unborn sister's eye opens inside Kathelia's skull, looking right at Daniel. And the twisted, half-formed sister claws her way out of Kathelia's head. It holds on to Daniel and bites his injury, but Kathelia wakes up, her head now completely fixed, and calls for her sister. The rageful monstrosity of a baby shows some emotion after hearing the word sister, but Kathelia picks the baby up, snaps her neck, and throws the body in the trash bin. Then Kathelia curls up to Daniel, who stood by her no matter what, and even Robin loses the baby bump and looks like she's back to her normal self. The end. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time.